In response to one of my other videos, Mark Scott sent in this comment: still using the PK360? I'm looking to get one, not sure if worth the extra money compared to a Weber Kettle. To help answer Mark's question, today we're gonna do another one of our barbecue showdown videos. I'm going to pit the Weber Kettle against the PK360. The Weber Kettle is probably the most iconic grill available. It's been around for a long time. As soon as you see it, you pretty much know what it is. The design hasn't changed much over the years. Why mess with something that has already been proven to work? The learning curve is not steep. If you cook on it on a regular basis, you'll get the hang of it. Really, all it is learning how to control the temperature. In order to control the temperature, there are only a few moving parts. You've got air coming in at the bottom, adjust those intake vents at the bottom, and then you've got air going out at the exhaust, adjust those as well. That's pretty much how you control the temperature. One of the other things that I love about the Weber Kettle is that over the years, there have been a ton of accessories made both by Weber as well as other companies that really can enhance and improve your cooking experience. Anything you want to do with a Weber Kettle, there's probably an accessory available to help you do it. PK grills, portable kitchen grills, has also been around for a very long time. They have a reputation for making solid aluminum-based grills that will last for generations. Similar to the Weber Kettle, PK grills are also very easy to use. The same types of principles apply with the PK grills. You've got your intake at the bottom, and then there's the exhaust up at the top. So pretty much exactly the same thing. There aren't as many accessories available for the PK360, but there are enough tools available where you can easily mirror the same type of experience on your Weber Kettle with the PK360. As Mark alluded to, the biggest difference between the Weber Kettle and PK360 is price. Looking at Weber's website, you can get the original kettle charcoal grill, the 18-inch version, for $119. The 22-inch is $139. The PK360 is what they consider to be their flagship grill and smoker, and you can get that on their website for $799. They also have other versions of their grills and smokers available at a lower price, and they all function, the operation is exactly the same no matter which one you get. Those are just kind of some of the basic things that I initially think of when I think about the PK compared to the Weber. But let's get into a cook. I've got 2 chickens that I brined overnight. I'm gonna cook it at a pretty high temperature, probably around 350 degrees. Next, we're gonna set up both of the grills, get the charcoal set up and lit, get them ready, and then we're gonna put them head to head, the Weber Kettle versus the PK Grills 360. We're gonna get things started off over here with the Weber Kettle. For both cookers today, I'm gonna use briquettes. I'm trying to have a setup that's kind of similar for both. We're gonna do 2-zone cooking, which both easily accommodate, which is like offset cooking, where you have your heat source on one side and the food will be on the other side. So for the kettle, I'm using my slow and sear, but I'm not using it with any water. I'm just using it because of its shape. You know, it basically allows me to set up these coals in one half of the smoker. The kettle also comes with charcoal baskets that you can also use as well. Or you can just, put a pan over on one side and just bank coals over on the other. Lots of ways to accomplish the same thing. Here I have these cherry wood blocks. These are made by Jealous Devil. I saw these at Home Depot, so I'm just gonna put one in there. I think that'll be sufficient. Here on the other side, we've got the PK360. I'm gonna use my Kick Ash charcoal basket. I like it. It makes it really easy to set up 2-zone cooking. Of course, you don't have to use this accessory if you don't want to. You can accomplish the same thing with PK just straight out of the box. But similar to the kettle, really easy to set up for 2-zone cooking. We'll have our heat source over on this side. It's perfectly shaped for a aluminum basket to catch drippings. Let's get our hot coals up on top. Got my wood block here. Get that in there. Really easy to do the same setup on both cookers. A similar 2-zone offset setup. Get our grill grate in place. Over here on the kettle. As far as the intake, I don't know how well you guys can see it, but I've got the intake set right here. So this will allow a lot of air to come into the firebox at the bottom of the kettle. And for the most part, I plan on leaving it there and then making all of my adjustments up at the top at the exhaust. Now over here on the PK360, you've got these 2 valves down here at the bottom to control the air intake. This is the closed position right here. Turn it about 90 degrees until you can't turn it anymore. And that's all the way open. Similar to the kettle, you can control the exhaust up here at the top. Just turn the dial all the way open, gives you hotter temperatures during the cook. Usually I like to just leave the intake positions wherever I started them and then make adjustments during the cook up here at the exhaust. When you're smoking, what's really cool about the PK360 is you can set up this diagonal pattern. Coals are over here on this side. What you want to do when you're smoking is you want to have your bottom intake valve open so that air comes in. You close the valve or close the dial up here at the top, and then you have the valve over here above the food open, the dial at the bottom under the food closed. So that would be your setup for smoking. I'm not smoking today. I'm really trying to get the temperature on my chicken pretty hot. I'm gonna start things off by having everything open. And then when I get things to a temperature that I want to settle at, maybe it's 350, 400 degrees, I'll make any adjustments that I need to make up here at the top at the exhaust. Because I'm doing chicken and I really want a good bite through on that skin, it's offset cooking, but then it's also high temperature cooking, and you can accomplish that on the PK. So on both the PK and the Weber Kettle, there are lots of different ways, things you can do to adapt the temperature to whatever you want. In other words, both of these cookers can be used for low and slow smoking, traditional barbecue, or you can also ramp up the temperature to do high temperature cooking, grilling, which you might want to do with a steak, get those good sear marks. They both provide a lot of versatility. While the grills come up to temperature, I'm gonna get the rub that I'm going to use on these birds. Get the rub onto the birds. Let's just start off by applying a little bit of olive oil to the skin for the rub. Today I'm trying something new. I haven't tried this before, but my buddy Joe over at Q Belly's Barbecue, and he's been on my podcast. Click the link if you want to listen to it and check out all the fantastic stuff that Joe is doing. But Joe swears by this B&B charcoal Texas Trinity rub. And he swears this is a great all-purpose rub that works well on everything, according to Joe. So I'm going to give this a shot today on these two birds. Usually all-purpose rubs are mostly comprised of salt, pepper, garlic. So I already used a little bit of salt in that brine from overnight, so I'm not gonna go too crazy with the rub because I already know that it has salt in it. And I don't wanna make it too salty. You know, this is what happens when you do stuff on video. I really should have flipped this bird over first and seasoned the other side and then did the skin side second, but it's too late. But that's all right, I'll flip it over now and get this side seasoned up. But fortunately, I did use that olive oil. That'll help the rub that I already applied. That'll help it stay in place. Just want to pat down the rub inside of a cavity. But I'm going to cook it. It's going to be like this when we cook it. And just as I thought, with that olive oil helped make that rub stick. So that's okay. Just remember to do it the right way for the second bird. Over, expose that cavity, knock off some of the stuff that I know isn't going to be good eating. All right. Get that turned back over and get the skin side. And spatchcocking the chicken will help make the bird cook faster, and it should help it cook more evenly as well. That's the main reason why sometimes you might want to go ahead and spatchcock that bird. Just trying to make sure I get all the little nooks and crannies. bird continue to hang out while I wait for the grills to come up to temperature. Built-in temperature gauge on the Weber Kettle is showing a little bit over 400 degrees. Let's get the chicken on the Weber Kettle. I've got the breast facing the heat source, and I'll rotate during the cook. I'll probably come back in about 30 minutes. We're 30 minutes into the cook, and I'm just gonna rotate the bird. I think I'm gonna rotate it 90 degrees every time I check on it. So I'm just gonna turn it like this. And then we're gonna do the same thing over on the Weber Kettle. So here we are on the Weber Kettle. You can see both birds look pretty much the same in terms of color. Neither one of them are really taking on much color yet. 1 hour into the cook, and all I'm doing now, we're just monitoring the temperature, obviously, of the chicken. Turn it that way. That 90-degree turn, and then also monitoring the temperature inside of the cooking chamber and figuring out when I need to add more charcoal, because one of the limitations with the PK, obviously when you're doing a 2-zone cook like this offset, you're limited by the amount of charcoal that you can put in. The cooking area is not huge. So that would probably be what I would consider to be really the biggest negative about the PK 360 is just the amount of cooking area as well as the amount of fuel that you can get in for a 2-zone cook. Next up is the Weber Kettle, and pretty much the same kind of observation, just about the amount of cooking space, the amount of fuel for a 2-zone cook. Do our rotation, and again, just monitoring temperature, monitoring fuel. Here's a look at the finished bird on the PK 360. It finished before the Weber Kettle, so I'm going to get this one off of the grill, finish up on the Weber Kettle, and then we'll see how these two measure up in terms of a taste test. I think I'll be able to get my wife Jeannine to come and give it a taste. She'll be the blind taster, and we'll see if she can tell if there's a difference between the two birds. The chicken on the Weber Kettle has reached 165 in the breast, so I'm going to get it off of the grill, let it rest, and then we can do the taste test. Get some slices cut into these. Sometimes you hate when your bird looks so nice, you almost hate to cut into it, but it's the only way we're going to find out which is which. All right, Jeannine, so we got a viewer request to do a comparison cook between the Weber Kettle and the PK 360.
I'm going to take number 2 first.
Okay, this is number 2. You might want to get a little bit of skin too. First, what do you think about just the rub itself? Like this was a recommendation from Joe from Q Belly's Barbecue. He swears by this stuff, and he says that it goes well with pretty much anything and everything.
It's peppery.
Oh, you think it's peppery?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely peppery.
It's an all-purpose rub. So usually an all-purpose rub is usually SPG, which is salt, pepper, garlic,
I feel
and
like
then
it's
some other things. I know
okay,
that
PG, pepper, garlic, and maybe a little salt. I will say this chicken is quite moist, so I'm enjoying it quite a bit. I feel like for some reason, this one feels a little moister, and for some reason this one just feels a little bit saltier. Not sure why. I'm a little drier. That one. This one feels very moist.
Jeannine is saying that number one over here, saltier, drier.
Drier.
Number 2,
Moist.
moister.
Yeah, I'll take another piece here. Maybe I just...
And again, guys, that could be because number 2 has been resting longer than number 1, so it gives it more time for those juices to settle. Do you think there's a difference in terms of a smoke profile? Granted, I tried to cook these at higher temperatures, so it wasn't going to be super smoky.
Yeah.
But I did use some cherry wood.
No.
I think there's a slight difference in the smoke, but Jeannine doesn't seem to think so.
This might be... Well, let me try it again. Really enjoying my job. Thank you.
Okay, so even though it's a little peppery, and I know you're spice sensitive, you're still enjoying the chicken.
Yeah. I would say this one just overall tastes better to me. You know, so this one just does feel a bit drier, less flavor. This one just tastes better.
All right, that's interesting. Maybe it's because this one was number 1, maybe because it was on the grill longer than number 2.
Maybe so.
So maybe,
Because
I
I
mean,
think
I don't,
it got a little dry. It got a little dry.
this chicken is not dry.
It's drier than this one.
It might be drier than that one, but dry is not the word I would use to describe this chicken. This chicken is good.
I agree, it's good. I think this is a little drier than this one.
We're both basically taking pieces from the breast, which is...
It's just, even you look at it, it's just so much moisture.
The breast is usually going to be drier than other,
It's
you know,
very
than like the thigh.
You can look at it and see it's moist. I know, right?
I guess if you have to say which one is drier, then yeah, okay, I'll give you that. Number 1 is drier than number 2.
Yeah, number 2 is very juicy. And I'm thoroughly enjoying it.
I can't remember what you said about the smokiness.
I felt like this had better flavor overall.
I felt like number 1 was a little bit smokier than number 2, but I think it's pretty razor thin.
You think so?
Which one do you think is which? So again, it's the...
I always get it wrong.
The PK and the Weber Kettle.
I think this is Weber Kettle, and that is PK.
All right, your streak of being wrong continues.
Yeah, I'm always wrong.
This was from the PK 360.
Oh.
And this is from the Weber Kettle.
Got it.
So, to me, they're both very similar type grills and cookers. Functionally, they both do the same things. They afford a lot of versatility, hot and fast, low and slow, offset cooking, direct grilling. You can do all of that with both of these cookers. PK 360 is made from cast aluminum. The Weber Kettle is made from steel, but coated with, what do they call it? Porcelain enamel. So generally, I think that
so much better.
The PK, now she's saying this is so much better.
It is. It's just the flavor is really good.
The PK is built more solidly. I could take a hammer and easily dent a Weber Kettle. I don't think that would be the case with the PK 360. So there's definitely a difference in terms of the build, although both will last a very long time if you take care of them. The PK 360 is considerably more expensive. We talked about that at the beginning of the video. The cost of entry for the Weber Kettle is much lower.
Yeah, but it's worth it because it tastes good.
Well, based on this one cook, Jeannine thinks that it's worth the difference, even though I don't think she knows what the price difference is between the 360 and the kettle.
Spend the money.
She says spend the money.
Absolutely.
So that was basically the question. Is the PK 360 worth the extra money?
Absolutely.
Jeannine says yes.
Hands down.
Obviously, the 360 costs more, so there should be some noticeable advantages and benefits, and I think you do get that. But just in terms of, being able to functionally cook and everything, if you just want to get started, totally nothing wrong with getting started with a Weber Kettle.
Great. I agree.
Low cost of entry, and again, ton of accessories for it. It's super versatile. It can handle anything you throw at it, and I do mean anything.
But I would say save up your money, and when you can,
well,
level up.
The PK 360 it can be a leveled up experience, but again, I think the downside again is the amount of cooking space with the 360. Again, this is Portable Kitchens 360, so its intent is to be portable. If you're smoking a brisket, you're not gonna have much extra space, especially if you want your two-zone setup with the brisket on one side and your charcoal on the other. You're gonna have to refuel probably a couple of times to get through a brisket cook. I haven't done a brisket on my PK 360 for exactly that reason, but I do have a video. I've done a pork butt on the 360, and it required replenishing the fuel, which is not hard, but it's just something you need to know going in.
You had to nurse it along.
Yeah, you had to nurse it. So take those points into consideration when choosing which one you think is best for you. Please, if you haven't already, like the video, subscribe to the channel, visit our website, backyardsmokemaster.com. We also do a podcast every week, so look for us on the podcast. Again, I got the recommendation for the Texas Trinity rub from Q Belly's Barbecue, and I'm hoping to get more guests to come on to the podcast to give me their tips and advice, give me their secrets that I can share with you. This is Kenyatta Robinson with Jeannine.
So good.
Thank you for watching the Backyard Smokemaster Barbecue channel. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one.